If it's very fair.
No, you're a knob, Jimmy. You're a liar and you're a knob.
Or
We don't
because
want you here. Go away.
I stood by my convictions that I did not lie.
We don't care. We don't want you here.
Standing by a lie doesn't make it any less of a
But
lie.
I stood by my convictions that I believe I didn't lie.
We don't care. Go away.
Doesn't change the fact that you lied. You read stuff that was not part of the citation and tried to pass it off that it was. That is a lie.
I never did that, Anthony. Never once did I do that.
I seem to recall you doing it.
No,
that's exactly what you
Anthony
did.
asked me the question, where was that?
Jimmy, fuck off, will you prick? Just leave. Just leave.
I want to chat to you guys.
I don't give a fuck. Then you can recount your lie. You can apologize for lying.
Can I have permission to boot him?
Can you?
I think I can.
You think you can what?
He's not in the back chat, so
Oh, okay.
No.
that's the problem. So only Nathan can kick him.
Why do you want to kick me?
Because you're a lying piece of shit.
I didn't lie though, Anthony.
Because we don't want you here, Jimmy.
You did lie.
Suppose you know what it feels like, Arwen.
What?
Not to be wanted here.
No,
You
no,
use
no.
lies to support a false belief.
I didn't lie though, guys.
Yeah,
I
you did.
Literally
Yeah,
lied.
you did.
I didn't.
Yeah, you
I read a citation. I added a few words. Anthony asked me, where
If you
was
were
that?
Pinocchio, your nose would have grown an inch and come through your monitor.
Explain how I lied.
When I challenged you, Jimmy, I said, where does it say that? And you said in the citation that I provided.
Yeah.
And I said, no, it doesn't. And then you said, what?
Yeah.
That was exactly what you said. So why did you answer
Where did
in
it
the
say
citation that I
It's a very
provided?
ambiguous question, Anthony. Where does it
How
say?
is it ambiguous? Where does it say that? That is not ambiguous.
I just read out a 16-word sentence and added a few words. Where does it say that? If you said, where does it say those last few words?
I
and then
clarified
you
it.
said it was
I
in
said
the
in things
citation,
you
that
read
would
then
be
the
right.
words were not there. What you're doubling down on a lie, Jimmy, and then you wonder why we don't want
That's-
you here.
You
Jimmy,
kicked me for
fuck
that.
off.
I don't think that's fair. You kicked me.
Jimmy, fuck off. You're a lying piece of shit and you belong with Sean Hufford's group. Go and play with them.
Jimmy, was that you that came in as Big Love thing?
No, I don't know what that was about. That was not me.
Piss off. You're a fucking liar, Jimmy.
Was that you?
No.
Nathan, are you there?
You're lying again. It's obviously it was you.
Jimmy, we can tell it's you by the inflections of
You're
your
a
voice. You're not
pathological
stupid.
liar. Jimmy.
Yeah, and coming on with a voice changer and another account, that was cute. It was cute. And you even tried to talk at the same time, and, well, you had to just duck out because you couldn't figure out your software.
Yeah.
It was nice of you, Jimmy.
Well, I'm here to have a chat and a discussion and make friends.
Fuck
No,
off.
you don't want friends.
Piss
You're
off.
here to bullshit and impose your belief system
You're not
enforced with
welcome here,
lies
are
on
I'm
other
waiting
people.
for an answer to the question of two
You're
podcasts.
here
Why
to
don't you
create
stop
victims.
being a pretender and actually
I'm asking.
remember who you really
I
are?
can't answer.
Why don't you stop
You can't answer
pretending
the
all
question
this
about
shit
all-
and actually remember who you really are?
You want to know a funny thing
Try
about
to
Brian Miller?
Get some sensible programming into yourself and get rid of this pathological lying and acting. Stop it.
Listen,
It's not good for you.
I'm waiting
One thing
to
I
hear
have been able to do, Jimmy,
about
whilst
the
doing the
answer
hangout is I've been able to
to-
block
Here
people.
in Canada, Brian Miller was a famous name a few years ago. That's because he was on one of these reality TV shows, and he was a serial burglar and rapist, I think, here in Canada.
Ranty either.
It's a funny,
I am,
funny name, Brian Miller, for, you know, Mr. George
Miller.
to use. Because it made national news, all that stuff, eh? Anyway, I just found it irony. I may have found Brian Miller.
Oh, really?
Well, he made the national news. I mean, he was a rapist and a serial burglar. And he
Really?
was on one of these reality shows. And he was still on the show when he got busted for his crimes. Brian Miller.
Huh.
Funny.
Did he ever do bestiality? Because then George might know him.
No, but we got a new one for the Jimmy Savile lovers and the Mark Taylors, and his name is Nathan Larson from Virginia. He's running for Congress on white supremacist ticket, incest with his own children, and, you know, other stuff. And he was an activist for decades in the gay prides, and these places financed his travels to Germany and all these places to promote homosexuality. And now he's running for Congress in the USA on the ticket of raping children, his own to start with.
Wow, he sounds a nice guy.
PMAS.
Yeah, well, that's for the Mark Taylors in this world and the Gem Pandas.
Well, I think that was a. I don't think that's the same thing, to be fair.
I guess not. Arwen.
Hello?
Arwin,
Yeah? What is it?
can you hear Jimmy now? Is he still in the chat?
I don't know.
Buzz?
Yeah?
So you see,
Unfortunately, yes.
you see his icon in the main chat, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't think he's able to speak.
Yeah, he is.
You talking to Sleeping
Well-
Warrior?
Oh, wait. In the main chat? Which guy?
No, in the Hangout. You know the Google Hangout, not the back chat. The Google Hangout.
Yeah?
Is his icon still there?
Yeah, yeah.
Is he able to speak? Can you hear him speak?
Arwin?
Yes, he is. He's addressing me.
Well, I've got just let Jimmy know that I now.
Can
have
you
him
answer
blocked
the
and he
two
won't be able
Polk
to join
stars
anymore
question?
because he's a lying piece of shit.
On a flat plane.
Can you hear him?
No,
Oh, I hear him too much.
James?
I don't
Can
hear
you
him.
answer
No.
that question?
I'm not
you got
answering
him on.
anything for
You got him on ignore.
Worthless.
That's how you.
You're a liar.
I've got him on ignore.
Brain
Yeah.
fuck. So screw yourself and fuck off.
So because he's blocked,
That's
just
not
let
very
him
nice.
know that he won't be able to join anymore because he's a lying sack
Never
of
once
shit.
sworn at you guys.
I'll just mute him.
Thank you, Arwen.
And if everybody else can mute him and block him as well, that'll stop him from ever getting on the show.
Oh, there's some controls. There you go. So there's the face.
How do you block?
Just go into the Google Hangout, the main Hangout, not the back chat, the main Hangout, and on the icon you'll see a little drop-down menu. One of them's mute, the other one's block. On the little thumbnail at the bottom.
Just trying to see where he spoke last on there.
No, you click on his icon, you know, right at the bottom when you're doing screen share and you have to click on the thumbnail. Wow, the peace and quiet I have right now is great.
Yeah, I've done it.
Right, so that's basically 5 of us now. So anyone that's not blocked Jimmy, just tell him that he's been blocked by all of us and he'll not be getting back on again because he's a lying sack of shit.
How did he get on anyway?
I don't know.
Definitely a lot of turncoats in this
He came
panel.
in. He came in his Barry Big Love, and then Nathan said, "Jimmy, you're not barred from coming in. Come in now if you want." He wanted to get them both in together and get them both talking. Because this Barry, he had a voice changer on.
Yeah, I know that, but what I mean is, how did he get in without being in the back chat?
Oh, I don't know.
That to me tells me that he knows stuff that he's not meant to know because nobody else knows how to do that. I wonder if Jimmy can hear me now. That
A lot of these guys have inside hacks when they're, professional trolls. I don't care if it's 77th Brigade or whatever company they're working for. They're simple hacks to get into these things, stay in, fuck around.
Are you saying that I've hacked into this thing?
I don't know.
I've not
Possible.
hacked into this thing.
You certainly don't fucking want to leave very fast.
I just want to chat to you guys.
Yeah, why would
That's
you
all I
want
wanna
to be
do.
in, like?
Then you have some type of mental disorder.
Why?
Nah, it's not a mental disorder. He's clearly got another reason to be
Agenda. Yep. Just a detract, disturb, disrupt, and
It's
Yeah.
called trolling. It's
I
called
feel you
trolling.
guys are peddling nonsense
Sleeping.
and idiotic
Well,
people are following
did
you,
you-
and believing you.
Did you agree with Nathan?
But when I ask a
yesterday?
very
He said
simple
about-
question,
that would
We
be
don't
our
care
problem.
about your freaking manipulating shit.
Hang on a minute, Jimmy.
Piss off.
I'm not manipulating anyone.
Right.
Yes, you're manipulating
I'll
everyone.
explain it, Arwen.
Shut the hell up. Shut
think-
the fuck up, dude.
Just
How
ignore
am I
Jimmy
manipulating?
Piss off and shut the fuck up.
Arwin,
It's
just
not very
block
nice.
him.
now.
and you
Never
hear him.
sworn at you.
Right, what was the
Sleeping?
question? Did I agree with Nathan yesterday when what?
when Nathan was saying that the
It seems like you're scared to answer the question.
flight would prove a globe.
Well, if they were able to fly pole to pole, then I would agree with Nathan. It would prove globe, yeah.
How would it though? If you take off somewhere where it. Hello?
Well, you fly over the south,
There's an echo.
fly over the south, and then come back up the other side, and then you should end up in the opposite part. You should be antipode from where you started off. Right?
Unmute your page, please. Your YouTube.
But if someone took like a pole-to-pole flight, like Greater Sapien was, I mean, how would you ever know the pilot? You know, you would never be able to tell for conclusively that they actually did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, because you would give them a start time. You know the distance.
On the flip side, could you have a flat earther go into one of those MiG
flights? A certain
flights?
amount of time, give or take, say, I don't know, 45 minutes.
You know when they go up like.
Shut up, Jimmy.
I'm talking to Peter.
Arwen, fucking block him, for fuck's sake.
No one else can hear him.
He's not scared about answering questions.
Yeah, just block him, Arwen, and then nobody needs to listen to him.
I can hear him.
Yeah, so block him, and then you won't.
Yeah, but if you just start off at the north somewhere, the North Pole-ish, where there's loads of snow on the floor, and then just fly around for however long it takes to fly from the north to the south, and then you just fly over snow at the end of it and say, look, we've done it. That doesn't prove the globe, does it?
Well, you don't need to fly over the North Pole and back out the other side. You just need to really go over the south. So all you need to do really is fly from Argentina, the south of Argentina, like the Falkland Islands, for example. Head south, prove that you are going south with a compass. And then
yeah, but on that flight, they were saying you're not allowed compasses, weren't they?
But that doesn't mean, but that doesn't mean, well, that flight is irrelevant. That flight was a blag in the first place. The point, regardless of that flight, is that it can't be done because the only way you can do it is flying around the outside of the dish.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it is rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Arwen, Event Horizon, Jimbo, who's that? That's PMars, Ranty Flat Earth, Sleeping Warrior, SX, The Plain Truth, and Was Not Was. Good to have you all.
Hello.
Yo.
Oh, yeah.
Good to be here.
Hey,
Cool.
don't join with socket accounts or voice changers, right?
Oh, you're talking about Jimmy?
Yeah, he was in the public chat, but not in the back chat, and he was just being an idiot. He still maintains that he did not lie when he read them words, and I said, where does it say that? He claims that he didn't lie and that my question wasn't precise enough to give an answer that didn't mean that he was misled. Utter garbage.
Well, that's what liars do when they get caught lying. They lie some more. And in this instance, he's come on with a voice changer. It was so blatantly obvious to everybody watching, but he still lied about it. So he's just a liar. You know, he's digging his own hole deeper and deeper every time he comes on, this Jimmy character.
But what we're finding is that we can keep exposing these liars, especially people like Awake Souls. And what happened when they came into the side chat and made all these concessions and promises that they would give a massive apology if I went and did a live stream showing the turbines. All I had to do, show the live streams exactly as I have been, but show the turbines in the live stream, which I did, expecting to get an apology. I didn't get an apology.
Worms.
Worms, definitely.
To be fair, though,
I am sorry. Just one thing though. I am actually working on a video that's going to explain the perspective issues with those turbines and what's actually going on. But it's going to take a little bit longer, so it'll be the back end of next week before I release that.
Those Awake Souls people believe there's like a hole in the flat Earth where the sun goes in and out during the night and day. So I mean, I wouldn't really even take them seriously.
To be fair though, Ranty, I think their position is that they didn't want it to be true because it proves sphere Earth. That's what he said in his video.
That's why I included that in the sort of like their apology video that I snipped down to. I included that because you could see it in his face that he couldn't process what he was seeing. He was acting just like your typical Glober troll would look at those turbines and see curvature, whereas people like ourselves who are more educated in this sort of thing can look at it and go, yes, we can see perspective. And it's like I've been saying, they just can't comprehend perspective.
We see an optical effect, whatever that effect is, be it angular size, resolution, or Aries diffraction, or whether it's just a bit of heat haze or a bit of moisture that's causing a microscopic amount of refraction. But whatever it is that we see at the horizon, it's not explained by science well enough for us to understand, and any obstruction's curvature on their model.
Well, it's like people that thinks that they can see across, like, from the US to Japan, you know? That's just crazy. It will be so small because of the distance of perspective.
Yeah, there's an angular size limitation to everything.
Well, you can only see like about 60 miles in the atmosphere because it clouds vision after a certain point.
Unless you get an infrared camera, and then all of a sudden you can see an awful lot further for some reason, and I don't understand how that works. It just seems.
Or you're on a mountaintop and you're taking pictures of another mountain 200 miles away.
Yep.
60 miles? What? 60 miles? 60 miles? 60 miles? Please.
Oh, by the way, for those of you that are not aware, when Nathan does the re-up on the other channel, the normal Nathan Oakley channel, it includes the information that was said in the break, during the Hangout break, whilst everybody's offline. We're all still going and chatting away in the background. You guys might want to go and listen to what's just been said with regards to Jimmy in the back chat. So when he re-ups it on the other channel, just listen to the bit in the middle. Jimmy's a worm.
So I'll just give a bit of clarity. So what Anthony's talking about is my backup channel, which there's a link in the info box on every single one of these live streams, but it's to the Nathan Oakley channel. And as Anthony rightly points out, the recording just goes for the full broadcast, and then it gets split up, and I re-up the two halves of the show effectively, but with the in-between bit on the second show. So daily UK time on the second show, there is the first half, the one that's just been broadcast literally minutes ago on this channel. That gets re-uploaded at midnight on Nathan Oakley channel. And then at midday, a couple of hours before this live show goes out, there's the re-up of the second show, which includes... So I've decided to put it on the second one. There's no real reason either way, but just so it's nice and tidy, the second show has the in-between bit, if you want to call it that, the bit when we're not actually live. It's still recorded, so I've started putting that up on the secondary channel. So check it out if you want to subscribe to that channel. The link is in the info box below the video. It's called Nathan Oakley.
I think
so. Yeah, Jimbo. Yeah. If you look horizontally, you can't. All right, wait. What's here? In very clean air, horizontal visibility is about 50 miles. More typically, visibility levels are 2 to 20 miles, and I think you can see farther though. Like if there's a light, like I think you could see a bright light farther.
Well,
so
that would depend too on your elevation, because a lot of cities and the ground has a haze over it.
No, I'm talking about Jimbo. I'm talking about atmospheric conditions. The air scatters light passing through it, so you can only, there's a limit on how far you can see horizontally. But like I think you could see a mountain like farther than that if like the sun's behind it and all that stuff, because there's like a light source. I don't know. But yeah, I am. It is accurate that like in clean air you can see about 50 miles. So
I wouldn't disagree with that.
I was going to say I'd probably agree with that based on what Anthony and Rantony have demonstrated so far. It's purely dependent on the conditions on the day, and exceptional clarity would be 35 miles. But I've no doubt you could probably see up to 60.
It all counts. There's too many variables, and it's hard to say it's this or that because it does vary so much.
Indeed. But what we definitely have on the ground is a narrowing of the viewing angle, which is why you can see further from higher. You've got a wider viewing angle. Simple as that. None of this is accounted for in their curve calculations, by the way. Everything we are discussing here, viewing angles, Airy's diffraction, perspective in general, none of it's accounted for. You know, it's completely ignored when you're trying to work out how much curve you should see, because it's bollocks. There is no curve. All we have are the effects of perspective, but they've been engineered out and replaced with curve. It's not curve.
Has anyone else got any other opinions on the best way to debunk the globe? Is this a good time to talk about that or not?
Well, Mong asked me to remind everybody about the 50 cal going up for 1 minute and 50 seconds, almost 2 minutes of hang time, and it lands at the guy's feet. Again, if the Earth was spinning on an axis, giving us axial rotation, I don't care where you are in latitude, if you shoot straight up, that rotation would move you and the gun from underneath the bullet's return. And every time you shoot up, the bullet will come straight down. No matter how high up the bullet or how long it takes for the projectile to come back down. If it went straight up, it's coming back straight down.
Think of it
Tie
another
your
way.
running shoes and run fast.
Think of it another way, Jim. You know when you see these skydivers and they go up, right, and they're in a plane and they're over the target, yeah? They jump out and they're free falling for what, probably 1.5 minutes, and then they get the parachute out and they land exactly where they should.
In North Carolina, a gentleman set the world record for jumping out of a plane without a parachute, I think from 27,000 feet into a net. He must have been real good at calculating his Coriolis.
Yeah, that would be impossible, I think.
Well, the whole system falls apart, because if you are talking about a sniper, if you want to bring someone in and they say snipers have to account for Coriolis, how long is the flight time in that? Seconds? Right? So in a matter of seconds, they have to account for Coriolis. But, Jimmy, as you're saying, if you fire the gun straight up and you've got a hang time that's longer than seconds, then you're going to have a longer variation on where that projectile comes back down. So you can't have it both ways.
Well, shooting straight 1,200 yards, you get in 1 second with a .5 caliber. So in 1 second, 1,200 yards, and you're supposed to calculate where your enemy is and the Coriolis drift and all that stuff. Hook 'em. You shoot that same bullet straight up, and there's no Coriolis. 1 minute and 50 seconds, and it can come down and kill you.
No,
the
I get
rotation
it.
won't save no one.
Can I make a statement in regards to debunking the globe? So every argument for a sphere-shaped Earth requires the presupposition of a sphere-shaped Earth. In R, you trust. If you want to debunk the globe Earth, ask them where they got R, and the answer is simple. They assumed it. They took it from inference of a curved shadow on a light in the sky, and then made their calculations from there on out with the presupposition that they are standing on a sphere. So in R, they, globeheads, trust. Because there is no evidence of R. There's only the presupposition of R. So every argument for the globe starts with the presupposition that you're on a globe.
And the mathematical wizardry that follows it, that confuses, and people say, oh, I just accept it because it's so fucking confusing. I can't figure it out. Orbital, I'm sorry about the swearing.
Sorry.
Orbital mechanics, all this stuff. Let's leave it to these experts who can calculate R and radians and grads and cosines and tangents, and it's all above us, you know. We got to leave it to them. No, it's just smoke and mirror and a magic show. The whole globe Earth thing is run like a Ringling Brothers circus.
I think the most unbelievable thing about the heliocentric model is the fact that the sun and the moon are the same angular size from our perspective on Earth. And that's just like an amazing coincidence to me. I mean, it doesn't really prove anything, but I just think it's really odd that would just naturally happen.
That's what they call it.
Well, think of it this way. If we were actually moving and all these systems...
Oh, we lost you, Jimmy. Jimbo. Oh, we lost everybody. Can't believe that's the case, as we've got no No drop frames. Stream still running. Can someone else talk just to let me know that I've not lost the entire hangout? Silence. Oh, that'll be the reason. Stream's still running, but I've been locked out of the hangout. That's really weird. There'll be a short intermission while I try and get back into the hangout.
Instead of going like pole to pole, you could just circle Antarctica.
As long as you have line of sight. Who's got their...
Me, sorry. It's just because I for some reason it kicked me out of the hangout.
Come on, Nathan. Are you new?
It does it for everyone. If you join the hangout, there's a slight echo when you first join. So it's nothing to do with me or my technical prowess, I assure you.
Or it does it when I join, because I always leave my mute unmuted when I come in. I apologise for that.
I've got an idea. Why don't we hire an airplane for a round the poles type of excursion, an expedition? Set up a GoFundMe, collect money, charge, I don't know, $20,000 a seat, and just fly around the poles. Let's bring back, you know, exploration.
Yeah, but we don't have to.
I think we're offline,
Oh, that's been
aren't we?
done. My mistake.
Oh no, we're back on.
Eh?
No, we were
offline
thinking for a minute.
I've got internet issues for some reason. I don't know why. Sorry.
Have a GoFundMe and then circumnavigate the Antarctic.
You'd never get permission, I don't think.
Yeah, but that's another thing the Globers don't come in. They say, oh, well, when you go down the Antarctic to see the edge, we're not allowed down there. And you try and say, oh, we're going to try and fly around it. Oh, no, you can't fly within invisible sight of it. All this bullshit. And the Globers still say, oh, no, it's a globe, it's a globe. Anyone here?
Yeah,
we're just
still here.
I'm still thinking about that. I mean, like I said, I thought about that early on. To just
I thought about it in
the shoreline.
I thought about it in a boat to start with, but then they could say, oh, it's to do with sea currents and all this sort of stuff. That's why it'd be best in a plane. It'd be expensive, I know, but...
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't have any place to refuel. If you're flying out over the ocean, you're only going to have the ocean to fly over. There's no place to refuel.
But you wouldn't have to go all the way around it, would you? All you'd have to do is do it for about an hour or two. And then see on your compass, look, we're always veering north. Or having to steer the plane northwards instead of southwards.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, I get that. Sure. Okay.
The Antarctic to say, look, point the camera to the Antarctic and say, look, we can see the Antarctic. We're flying around it, and look, we keep having to veer north. Why is that? We should be veering south all the time.
I agree.
But like I say, you'd have to be able to see the Antarctic. Otherwise, we could just say, oh, you weren't flying around the Antarctic. You were flying somewhere else.
So, P. Mars, what's your current position in regards to the shape of the Earth?
I think it's flat.
Are we recording?
I already knew the answer to the question.
I think you're actually saying that honestly and with integrity. Are you really saying that honestly?
I can't answer that question.
Okay, so you're bullshitting some more. Thank you. It's good to clarify that. It's not an honest answer, so it's bullshit. Nice to know.
I'm liking the new PMARS. It sounds like he's coming round to it, but he's just not quite got there yet. But
Well, he said he was a flat earther before, and then he switched back.
He's doing what he's been doing for 3 years, playing both sides of the fence, depending whenever it's convenient, you know. Just playing games. Nothing but a gamer.
Guess he needs friends.
Yeah, I use this as a social outlet. I don't have a lot of friends. I became a 9/11 truther, and like everyone started shunning me and stuff. So
have you thought about starting a debate room of your own, P? Like talking about the stuff you like to talk about, like the rich elite and all the crap that comes with it?
yeah, I've tried doing flat Earth debates, and I've had trouble getting people on my panel because I'm not very popular among flat earthers. Some flat earthers like me though, because I do talk about like the indoctrination and the brainwashing stuff, and I mean I'm on board with all the other conspiracies that the flat earthers talk about pretty much. So yeah, I would like to do a debate and talk about how we're being lied to. We're basically enslaved by rich people.
But it seems it's those same rich buggers that are pushing the globe, isn't it?
Yeah, it came from a lot of the stuff comes from Jesuits. I watched a documentary on the history, or I don't remember which channel. I was on YouTube. It was pretty interesting. It went over the history of how our cosmology changed when like Galileo got the telescope and all that stuff. It was kind of interesting how science developed the models they do over the years. But yeah, a lot of it comes from the Catholic Church and the Jesuits, and I don't know. We live in a world where we're lied to so much. It's really hard to know what's truth or what's not truth. Like there's so much propaganda out there. I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, I heard that Galileo was like supposed to be really badly treated, but all he was put under house arrest or something, and so it wasn't really that bad.
Yeah, and that was at a time where they would like throw you in the dungeon and you would die pretty much. So
yeah, but they just put him under house arrest and let him get away with it. And you think, well, no, all they got to do is kill him.
I think there's something to like in the past they used religion to control us, in my opinion, like Christianity and Islam and all that stuff. And then now we're moving to more like empiricism and science, and I believe they're going to use science to control us in the future. Like we're going to have like a scientific. You're going to be born. They're going to take like your DNA sample, and they're going to go, okay, you're a janitor. Oh, you're a lawyer. You're a army person, or we're going to be put into this scientific caste system, and it's going to be a nightmare. And so yeah, they're going to use. I think they're going to use science to control us in the future. Or they are right now.
Yeah,
and that's
part of the lies to deceive people, because that's what science is today. Delusion and lies.
Part of like making us believe in the heliocentrism stuff is probably to get us further away from like God and that form of control, because that's like they're not using that anymore. So they want us to believe that we're insignificant, this random chance stuff.
Yeah, they want to get us down the transhuman blooming route and put chips into our brains and all this crap.
Oh, looks like we've lost our panel.
Don't forget, even though you're born a man or a woman, you have your gender identity to consider. I had a census from Census Canada, Stats Canada, and they wanted to know, born a man? Yeah, born a male, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And what's your gender identity? Well, you know, fuck off. And I hung up. I'm sorry. I just swore again. My mistake. I'm sorry. But anyway, hung up on the government.
Do you think?
It's just bullshit.
Do you?
You're crackling.
Do you think the use of gender has been chosen to obscure the issue that we're talking about? Because humans have sex. They are male or female. That's sexual.
It's
Nouns,
procreation. Usually a male donor, a female receiver.
No. I know.
Yeah.
Nouns have gender. Nouns are not sexual. But now we're using the term gender, so that seems to diminish the profundity of it's almost like we're Victorian. We can't say the word sex. Every time we talk about
Victorian or not, there's extremes in this world. And as far as just basic biology goes, in reproduction, you have a donor and a receiver, and it ends there. The rest is quackery, bullshit developed in the brains of man to distort, to dilute, and to corrupt.
All right, so I'm going to ask my question again for a yes or no. Do you think the social choice to change the word to gender was done intentionally for the express purpose of obscuring the biological reality?
Absolutely. It is part of an agenda. Keep people confused, bewildered, no true identity. You can manipulate them like soft butter with a butter knife. It's just fear, sex, other things. These are weapons. They've been weaponized and they're being used against people. The very nature of humanity is being used against it now. And it is an agenda. Very clear, very concise.
Everything's weaponized against us. If you look at it from the sky, chemtrails or vaccines or whatever, everything's weaponized against us. From the clothes that we wear and the detergents to the food we put in our house. Everything's weaponized against us.
The panel has gotten a bit smaller. Are we offline?
A few got sniped, I think. Pete Mars said he got sniped.
Really? I did ask, but yeah, you were talking too much. Not that I'm moaning.
I'm usually the first to get sniped, so I'm sort of honored this time. Put out, I don't know.
Well, Ranty left at the same time, so he probably got sniped as well, did he?
Maybe.
I don't know who was doing the sniping though.
If we get a load of trolls piling, I'll just start a new hangout.
It could be a disgruntled debater.
Could be.
Probably Jimmy.
Let us know in the chat if you were sniped.
Well, when they have no reasoning or logic or anything to put in the bait, sniping and, doing stuff to interfere, there's all they have. Ad homine's. It's pathetic. But it's a necessary evil to progress through this nonsense, unfortunately. It should have been over years ago. It should have been, never an issue, because it's always been flat. But that's another story. Now we're dealing with delusion, basically a mass hypnosis. And when people are hypnotized, it's hard to snap them out of that trance. And the globe and all these data and bullshit is the drug, the glue. Passes off as some kind of knowledge, makes you feel smart. Take advantage of your ego. Then when you're told, well, maybe stars aren't zillions of miles away, you get all upset because your very core, your very soul is based on beliefs in all these lies. When you think of it, Baal belief is no different than Baal, the, child sacrificing church of the old days. They've just found a way to use and play with words to keep that Baal incorporated, that Baal religion. Same thing. It's a cult. It was evolved by cultists and people vulnerable to, you know, all people are vulnerable, especially if you're born into a cult. You won't see it. It's like seeing a tree in a forest. Same
it's all
thing.
manipulation, though, isn't it? It's all mind control and manipulation from.
Well, it took decades and decades to get this brainwashing in place. It was a war to make the earth a ball. And they won it temporarily. They won the battle, not the war. Now the battle's turned. And all these basically liars and, well, science fiction fantasists from the past, these Freemason and Illuminati artists, their art is being picked apart. Their artsy math that makes an R in the middle of a globe and makes everything orbit around and based on a big explosion way back when. A lot of fantasy involved. The whole thing is a fantasy from A to Z. It's a total delusion.
I don't know if you guys
are living in a non-reality.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of static from Everett. If you can just keep yourself on mute. I don't know if there's something wrong with your microphone, but if you're not talking, if you can just keep yourself on mute.
I don't know if you guys saw Russian Bid's new video, but I thought it was a fantastic interview. He interviews a current producer in Hollywood, and they have a really fantastic brass tacks discussion on Flat Earth.
No, I've not seen that.
Yeah, you need to watch it. It's really, really good.
It's not the first one he's done. He got in touch with a producer of like quite a low budget movie that he'd come across that had a chalkboard drawing of an alien.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he got the producer on. He talked about
really?
he talked about the movie, but now he had the producer.
Oh, I thought he did that a while back. I mean, I know he'd spoken to the person before, but maybe it's just a full interview with that person as opposed to just a back and forth that he'd had. But yeah,
I saw that the liner said that it was up. It was like 17 hours old, so I just thought it was new.
I'll have to have a check it out. It might be the case that he's actually interviewed him, or it's a re-up of an old interview that he did.
Repost, yeah, it sounds like the repost of the one I saw.
Oh, okay, well.
But still worth checking out. You know, absolutely fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially, men in black coats came along and said, "Look, we'll fund your whole shoot for the day. We just need to set design this set because it was filmed in a school. It was just one small scene in a school. They paid for the whole set and all the expenses for the day, so long as they gave them, free reign to dress the set. And when they walked into this classroom, everything looked exactly as it was when they, decided to use it, other than a massive cross, like a square with a load of, left horizontal and vertical lines across it, and an azimuth equidistant projection drawn in chalk, massive, on the blackboard, so that they were just part of the scene, just in the background. Yep. And they went, yeah, I'll definitely take the money to, if you'll pay for the, the whole day's expenses, then yeah, great, do what you like, wonderful. So they did, and that's how it got in there, and that was the crux of the story that was explained to Russian Vids after he found it, and initially was like, look, they're doing it in truth in plain sight, etc., etc. But the producer was watching Russian Vids, he saw it, and was like, oh, that's got a story to it, and he just got in touch and told him the story. Interesting though it was. So yeah, check that out if you've not seen it already. Very interesting.
Basically, these people paid to put in a ad in a.
Hey Nathan, I got something. The next time somebody brings up Coriolis effect, like George, just present this, and you can use it to explain the difference.
Yeah, right on.
What? Me?
Yeah, no, I said good.
Oh yeah, so I think sound broke up. Anyway, yeah, continue.
Oh, God, a whole bunch of technical issues. So just gone offline and come back on again. I've no idea what's going on. I don't know why I'm having so many technical issues today.
It's Jimmy.
Attempting to reconnect, so I've been knocked off the live stream. See if it comes back on. What a pain in the ass. This show's been a right shambles with technical issues. Ten seconds. Hopefully it'll be...
Did Sleeping get kicked, or did he just leave?
I think he may have just left. Ah, stream complete. It'll have started a new stream. Damn it! I'll do a quick intro because I'm pretty sure it has actually started a new stream. That's annoying.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Is it a new stream? Have I just done an advert for no reason? Let's just ask the chat before I embarrass myself by doing yet another intro where it isn't actually necessary. Let's have a look. Is this a new stream, yes or no, chat? Go over? No, it's not. Oh, it's still the same stream. Oh, thank God. That saves me doing a whole bunch of work.
Yeah, it's still the same, Nathan.
Whew. That's the worst possible scenario is that the stream ends and then I've got to start a new one. Yes, new stream, says Room Thornton. Oh, God damn.
SX.
Yes, Travis?
Are you a solo driver? You owner-operator? What?
I'm an owner-operator, but my truck broke down like a month and a half ago. So right now I'm doing some loads for the company. Okay. Yeah. It's in the shop, my truck.
Yep.
We're live again, by the way.
Yeah, it is definitely the same stream. So glad I didn't do another intro. Although they have got an advert halfway through for my shop. So there you go. Check out my shop, NO80 Spreadshirt. Link is in the info box. That's why I did it. It was definitely intentional. Nothing to do with the technical issues. Yeah, this show's been a bit of a shambles. My apologies to the audience. These things happen. Tomorrow will be better. How long have we got left? Good 25 minutes.
Can I make a point? Just like quick thing. I seen videos where people ask where's the tilt on the buildings, right? And they say it's so minuscule. Is that how you say that? That it cannot be measured. And the other day, George, when he was arguing about the moon and all this stuff, the Coriolis effect, he said they were able to measure the edge of the moon within centimeters or something like that, and making calculations 500 years from now. I don't see if they can measure. My question is, if they can measure the moon, why they cannot measure the tilts on buildings, stuff like that.
Well, I don't know that wouldn't just simply be that. That's been my question again from the very beginning. When I first started looking into this was the very first comprehension that I had. That okay, if you're telling me that I'm looking into the distance and I can see an object and it is on a curve, why is it still appearing to me as if it's 90 degrees? Because it would be impossible. From my perspective, it would be at an obtuse angle away from me. That's just reality. And then the answer is the great scale negator. That's their answer, right? The scale is what negates reality. So if you have a circle that's 360 degrees and the first degree, or each of those degrees, 360 degrees, you divide the circumference of the Earth, it's 69 miles. So At 69 miles, you're only going to have 1 degree of angle. So they say that 1 degree is so slight you're not going to notice. And if you're seeing something at 20 miles, it's going to be even less. So the degree isn't that significant. That's their answer. Now, my limited ability in terms of math, you know, be that what it may, is this. If the degree is 69 miles, then you still have to account for the curvature, because 69 miles has to be squared, has to be multiplied by 8, has to be divided by 12. And that measurement, as far as I can remember off the top of my head, is like 1,400 feet. So there's 14. So that's what the degree equals. The degree equals 1,400 feet. That's not insignificant. So they can't have it both ways. Their math is screwed up. It's not a small, insignificant number. 1 degree at 69 miles is 1,400 feet of curve. No.
There's a device, it's called the laser microphone, and it's a piece of spy tech that's been around for at least 30 to 40 years. It runs about $200 or less. And what it does, it allows you to mount on a tripod a laser that you can point at a window 10 miles away. And if people are talking in the room, the glass vibrates. The laser that's, you know, hitting the glass vibrates, comes back to a sensor, and you hear what people are saying in a room 10 miles away from a laser light bouncing off the glass. Now, the glass has to be face to face. It has to bounce straight back. I mean, it would have to go around the curve, hit the glass on an angle, and then be refracted back to your device 10 miles away. Now, this has been around a long, long time, and it's a line of sight device. It can't see around curves. So if you're on the prairies and you can listen to your neighbor from 10 miles away with a beam of light, there's no curve. You can listen to someone across the lake 10 miles away with a beam of light, there's no curve. There never was. So it's a nice little device. They sell them on Amazon all over the place. Anyone can buy one. And if you want to spy on a neighbor that's 10 miles away and horizontally across from you, you're free to do it. So that proves flat.
Indeedy. I think the 6th or 5th show I did was with Robin Poe. She was talking about a radio relay that she was supposed to be setting up but couldn't get the relay to work across the mountain range that she was dealing with. But then she decided to point the antenna at the source, which was about 115 miles away. And what do you know? She got a connection. But then she got told by her superiors that they didn't like it and she must take it down. It had to be done by the book. And the book was to have relays, even though she got a direct connection, which was crystal clear, which just says it all. You know, the system's in place.
Shatters the illusion.
Yeah, the illusion that you must have relays because of the Earth curve. But in reality, it's flat as a pancake. You've only got to point your transmitter, and if it's got a strong enough amplifier, transceiver rather, you'll get a signal. That's it. Simple.
I can walk around my neighborhood and take a dozen photographs of satellite dishes pointed squarely at buildings. Not above them to the sky, but squarely at a building. Now, you know, if these satellites are 2,000 miles up with a weak signal coming, I really don't see how a signal could get through a building. When I installed dishes, they gave us a piece of paper, an idiot paper, and it showed clear sky with a check mark, and then a building like a little shed, big X on it, trees and bushes, big X on it in front of your dish. It can't see through buildings. It can't see through trees. The paper said, always clear sky. But here, these things are 20 feet from the building and pointed at the building. How are they getting a satellite signal? I claim they're not. These are just antennas that on the mountain over here, I have a 700-foot antenna at Camp Lejeune. It has more than 20 official digital TV stations and dozens of radio stations. But I think it's also supplying the feed for these, quote, satellite dishes, which are not pointed at no satellites in no sky. They're pointed at brick walls and into people's bedrooms. How the hell are they working? Satellite.
Not satellites, just a strong amplified signal that barrages its way around the buildings, so it can be picked up by the satellites. Sod all to do with the sky, everything to do with ground transmitters.
Yep, absolutely. Look, every town around, you look at the taller buildings, and instead of those dish antennas now, they have these things that almost look like neon light fixtures. Those things are called shadow masters. They can contain over 100 2-watt modems. See, by radio law, you're not allowed to have a 1,000-watt transmitter. Here in Canada, you're allowed legally to broadcast on 1 watt with no license, no permits, no nothing. So because you're not allowed 1,000 watts pure on one antenna, in one system, what they do is they put 100 small ones in a box and run them each at 1 watt or 2 watts. Who looks? But again, they circumvent the antenna and the EMF rules and laws by just subdividing it. It's like the Chinese, when they have 1,000 people take 1 bite out of a victim, who really killed the victim? Well, it's the same thing. 1,000 watts of radio frequency coming out of antenna is 1,000 watts. Whether it's subdivided into 100 or 1,000 separate units, the total wattage is still the same. The total cooking power is still the same. You know, you could have 2 megatrons in a microwave and run them each at 500. You're still getting 1,000 watts. It's just putting basically dangerous electromagnetic radiation above the heads of babies in cribs and people sleeping below. You're sleeping under a broadcast tower. You're eating microwave. It's cooking you.
So
it will give you cancer.
Here's my ignorance again when I ask this question. When Tesla put forth wireless communication, would it have been along the same caliber as what we have now, or would it have been completely different? So if it was simply radio waves, right? I guess my question is, I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and I thought, why don't we just go back to the basics of walkie-talkies, because we have so many relays, and eliminate the microwave aspect? Wouldn't that simply, couldn't somebody just do that? Just create their own company and have it be radio-based?
No, but then you would get competition with the radio.
That's the whole point of free market, right?
A lot of walkie-talkies are around the 2-meter FM, so I mean.
But you understand my point. My point is, let's rally up and start a company and give the cellular companies a run for their money. I mean, you know.
Okay, but you're not allowed to transmit on those frequencies because you'll be interrupting other radio activities that are on that frequency. It's just how it works.
Getting licensing for band allocation in the radio spectrum is quite the challenge in any country.
Yeah, especially the basic radio ones, because they're the most wanted. They have the farthest reach, all that stuff.
Pirate radio.
Are you sure Tesla's a real person?
Yeah, I almost made that caveat, but I just went along with my point.
Well, I found he was no more than a showman and a figurehead. Look, what did the guy do? Sit in a cage with, you know, electric sparks and an arc gap generator around him. That looks all magical and wow, impressive, but he simply knew what a lot of people knew at the time. If you have the voltage or that lightning alternating at 20,000 hertz, it cannot hurt you. So there were a lot of people doing that Tesla type of magic and stuff and showmanship there. And all Tesla really did is he knew something about antenna ground systems. When he built that big old bulb out of wood and stuff, it was to, you know, develop a static charge and be able to charge capacitors, make electricity, basically. But no, he was, you know, there was, if you look at some of the historical information about AC and DC, there was a war that you know, DC was or dangerous or something, they wrapped an elephant in electrical wires and electrocuted it at New York Fair, I think. No, this was all, you know, a marketing and strategy games, just like everything in the U.S. has been controlled by media and propaganda. And it was led by, you know, basically these oil barons and stuff. Another source of power. They wanted control of all sources of power. They didn't care. If one would affect the other, they were interested in it. So, no, Tesla, it's like, you know, just another one of these names that people stick their noses up and say, wow, look, Tesla, and they quote him like he's some kind of guru. He's dead. He's gone. And he really didn't leave very much. You know, anybody, even back then, knew that you could take down a bridge with a ball-peen hammer and a stethoscope. You know, he put in a whacker that oscillated in his building one time, and it got into harmonic vibration with the building, and his building started rocking. Fire department, police, whatever came, and they smashed his machine. But, you know, that's the same thing as taking down a bridge with a ball-peen hammer. Same principle. There's nothing important, big, or whatever about Tesla. He's a name that's used for marketing now. One of the biggest con artists in the world, who is Elon Musk, is all over Tesla. Tesla Band-Aids, Tesla stitches, Tesla batteries, Tesla rubber, Tesla carbon. Just put Tesla on anything and you have a marketing tool.
So Jim,
that's what I think of Tesla.
Okay. Can I respond to that? Because, yeah, there may be some legitimacy to your claim that Tesla could indeed be like a genius front man, a character invented to give you some look into these old hidden technologies and to just put a face on and say, oh, look, he was a genius and we don't get it. They do get it, but they're not allowing it. So they have a character for it that got burned by society and outweighed by money and all that as part of the story. Which, yeah, he could be a cover for just a technology that was well known in that society, in the late Renaissance society that went, yeah, that collapsed under the mud flood, basically. And yeah.
The thing that gets me about the Tesla story is that he builds the free electric thing, and then what was it, the banker, whatever can't remember the banker's name, but he said, well, if you can't meter it, then I don't want it. So then they dismantled it. Well, you'd think he'd ask him that before he built it, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it was Rockefeller, I think, that financed him.
Right.
No, it was JP Morgan, wasn't it?
But maybe it's just their industrialist fairy tale.
Yeah, well, it must be. Otherwise, he'd say, well, can this be metered? Yeah, go ahead, build it. Not build it and then, oh, can this be metered? No, it's going to be for free. Oh, well, dismantle it then. Seems a bit daft the way they portray it.
I mean, if the narrative's
true... It could
true,
also be a Fall Guy story, though.
Well, I was going to say something similar, which is if you've got a monopoly on a certain type of technology, the way to keep that monopoly is to own anything that could potentially compete with you. Would that not make sense? So you design the technology and then say, right, I own the patent now. No one else can distribute it.
Well, the gentleman that did that car that ran on water, he passed, but the car went on to a few different owners than his son, and now it's owned by Detroit. So they can swallow it up. Yeah, I believe water is a fuel, and some people may have actually figured out how to, you know, use it almost exclusively as a fuel. I wouldn't doubt it. And, you know, that much abundant fuel is a problem, you know, for maintaining control over people through, well, keeping them from freezing by supplying them oil and electricity and other stuff that's theirs in the first place. Like I say, the electricity, we're on a grid. The electricity is all around us. We just don't have the, well, total knowledge of how to build machinery to harvest what's in the air for us right now. So we're dependent on some clowns and, you know, charaders that pretend they're giving us electricity. Again, I conclude, and I know my stuff, there is no electricity on flat Earth. When power is generated at the station, it's only a tension that's applied to the high tension wires. There is not a single, quote, electron that flows. Wow. So what is making the energy? It's just a potential difference. It's what we call a antenna ground system, a high charge and a low charge, and having them ground out between. So I really don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it, but that electricity is ours. It's all around us, and it's being sort of funneled and metered, and we're being billed for it. And it sucks out our lives, because to pay for it, we have to go and, well, basically work our asses off for almost nothing. Anyway.
And we're being exposed to low voltage electricity, which is not a healthy thing.
Yeah. Well, the higher the frequency, the more it cooks your cells. The more intense it is, or the more powerful and closer to the signal you are, the faster it cooks your cells.
On the other hand, high voltage electricity has beneficial elements to it. And that was also part of the story of Tesla, because he used basically free range, cheap, durable, high voltage electricity, which both has a benefit for all life that is within the field. And yeah, you can tap into it. So it's
we work on so-called electricity, you know. You think you get calories from food. Our system is an electric system. Yeah. We fire neurons. It's an electrical impulse. Electricity allows us to point and click and see and do all this stuff. We interpret electrons or photons or whatever you want to call them, wave energy, with our eyes, with our ears. We're part of a tuned system. The whole thing is an energetic system. Every square inch, everywhere around us, up, down, and around. There's power, there's energy. It's tapping into that antenna ground system, that plus-minus system, and creating a difference and using the difference in potential to get work done. And that's free energy. And believe it or not, heating your home does not require gravity. Heating your cave, if you're a caveman, does not require gravity, as flat earth math will educate you that it does, but that's another story. It's there, we just have to, you know, more and more people have to find out how to use it properly, because if only one does, well, they sort of get swallowed up, you know. If 100 people figured out something at the same time or shared it and it was right and successful, then it couldn't be closed down anymore. It'll get there. State is falling apart, you know, one flat earther at a time.
Only rounding out points, it seems there is definitely somebody in the back chat sniping people, because Alwyn's just been sniped as well, so I assume the other guests were indeed sniped, but I didn't start a new hangout, probably why it's been a little bit slow in this last closing bit of the show. But is there anything else anybody else wants to round out with before I do?
Not here.
Show me the axial rotation.
Indeed. With that, I will say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible, as I literally lose the rest of the panel to snipers. Perfect timing. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. But if you liked the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!